of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
Welcome to Around the Craft Table, a podcast by film students about movies, making movies, and other stuff.
Welcome to Baby Burger. Can I take your order?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys have any specials or deals.
Yeah. Right now we have a toucan dine special on our baby onion loaf. It's a normal loaf of bread, but it's this little one, and it's oniony.
That sounds a lot like onion rings, but way harder to eat.
Yeah, that's just this gross thing we let people eat.
Okay, I'll take the onion loaf deal, and I'll get just a big sugary beverage.
Oh no, really? You're going to eat an onion loaf alone in your car?
Hey everybody, it's Myles, and what you've just heard is a clip from the brother and sister duo of Laina and Taylor Brown. The pair comprise Folks Films, and they join me tonight along with Miranda on Around the Craft Table. Welcome, how's everybody doing?
Hey. Feeling great.
Yeah, excited.
Good.
Me as well.
So, let's start with a little bit of introduction. Whichever one of you wants to go first, you can tell us about either yourselves individually or about your production company. Floor's open.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name's Taylor, this is Laina, and like you said before, we are siblings and are making films, making stuff together, and it's like a dream come true. It's awesome. It's like kind of where we want to be and where we've wanted to be since we were kids, and Folks is kind of the newest endeavor in our actual film, I guess, journey and the actual starting of a business and things like that. And
Yeah, we've been making films since we were like really young, since we were kids. Like never thought it would necessarily go anywhere, but the fact that it is, and that we are able to like make money out of making videos and films, and now moving into more narrative work, pretty exciting. Yeah, it's fun, and we're kind of at we still feel like we're learning a lot, and we're at a beginning phase of where our career maybe could go, but it's fun to like be committed to like, we want to make films and videos for real.
That's awesome.
Cool. So, you guys recently moved from Saskatchewan to Manitoba. What sort of precipitated the move?
Good question. I love Saskatchewan. I'll always love Regina, and I started my fine arts degree there, but I moved to Manitoba because I got an opportunity for an internship at a not-for-profit Christian organization where I was an artist in residence, and I was making videos and different promotional material for them. And I was like, this is a great opportunity. So I came here to Winnipeg for that. And then after that internship was done, I was like, I want to stay in this city. I felt like the arts communities were really thriving, not just the fine arts community, but they had like a great group for photographers, and there were like lots of studio spaces available and people wanting to welcome me into them. And I was like, wow, there's so much going on here. So I think it felt super natural to want to, as an artist, just wanting to stay here. And I'm actually finishing my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree here at the University of Manitoba.
Oh, sweet. That's really cool to hear that you guys are enjoying the scene here.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. I just wanted to ask, like, so Taylor, did you move like after Laina moved over to Winnipeg?
Yeah, so Laina was here for about like a year, and then I was actually dating a girl long distance from Winnipeg, and ended up moving here, falling in love, and we got married. And it's been great. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the move to Winnipeg and felt like it was like moving to the big city, like coming from Regina.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
Which, like, I don't know, like I know
so big.
I know. But it felt like there's a lot more opportunities for definitely like film and video opportunities.
Communities and resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's great.
So what sort of, like, you guys briefly sort of touched on the background of folks films and your guys' history a little bit with the arts, but what sort of sparked you guys to make films in the first place? What sort of started that journey for you?
Yeah, totally. So I think like as a family, a big part of growing up was watching films and watching movies, and actually not just for entertainment, but really like engaging with them and having that really affect kind of like how we go about our lives. And so I felt really inspired to like just be doing, stuff when I was a kid, and Laina would do stuff when she was a kid, and we were able to have a camera available for us, which was really cool. And I think out of that, it just like really enjoyed the process of like making stuff with other people and having that teamwork option there. And so like, yeah, as growing up and as like we did more and more projects, it was just really exciting and so fun to like think of new worlds that we could create and new ideas that we could bring into like a screen, and then have people just enjoy them and see their reactions on their faces when something is done, even if it was like a low quality, stupid whatever. But it was very enjoyable, very very satisfying, I guess.
Yeah, that Taylor's like a really creative guy and has a great imagination and is like really good at like making games happen and telling movies and stories. And so, yeah, being able to bring other people into the world he's thinking about and creating is just like a really natural gift to him, a natural bend that he has. And for me, like, I love the camera and I love capturing light and seeing something that inspires me and seeing like, what could I do it like that, or what's my style, what's my look. But then Taylor being so interested in character interactions and creating a world, that's what sparked my interest in making films as well. Yeah.
Wow. You guys speak so like kindly of each other. I just wonder, like, was it always that way? And like, how did you find like collaborating as siblings? Was that like difficult at first, or did you always sort of gravitate towards each other as like as collaborators?
Yeah, totally. Honestly, like like in school, I would like run home to play Beanie Babies with my sister. Like it was just like,
my gosh.
yeah, it's like,
But no, there were rough times though. Like, I would have an idea of a play that I wanted to do, and I would make Taylor have a certain part. And if he didn't do what I thought was right and do it in the right way, I would like get so upset and mad, and he'd just like laugh and make fun of me sometimes. But but in the end, we always did the play. It always got done.
It always got done. Yeah, it's always worked pretty well. Like I think we always worked well together. I think having those different characteristics of like Laina sometimes just like having that drive to really get that play done, and then me just wanting to be a little more goofy, a little more creative. I think that really benefited. Each other.
I'm definitely the type that will say yes to every job, and I like want to work so many extra hours and say yes to too many things that I can't even handle, and like work ourselves to the bone till we get it just perfect. And then Taylor he's a hard worker, but he has like mental health on the mind and is like, hey, we need to like set boundaries and think about everybody who's all involved in our lives and pace it a little bit better. So yeah, I think we see the benefits of each other's gifts too, and try not to focus too much on the differences, but realize that we need each other.
Yeah, totally.
Sort of use each other to bring out the best in the other one.
Totally.
Yeah,
that's totally how it
cool.
Feels. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
That's actually so amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed with you guys.
Aww.
Yeah. Good working relationships, be they with siblings or friends in this industry, is something that I'm sure you guys would agree is super important and super important to hold on to once you've like started them and formed them.
Yeah, communication is so important. Like, I'm sure you would agree too, in like communicating your idea and your vision, and then being able to have done that for a long time already is helpful to us in creating a new project for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you find that you guys sort of touching on the sibling relationship and bridging it more with the art side, do you guys find that you sort of know where the other one wants to go with a scene, for example, or a shot before you've even articulated it in words? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah.
Like
a bit of a telepathy kind of.
I mean, or we're definitely getting better at that. I think when we shot the Change film, that it took some time for us to communicate about what we wanted in a narrative situation. But I think like when we're shooting commercial stuff and we're shooting wedding films and stuff like that, it's like we don't even have to communicate about it.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of those before, and we know where each other's gonna be, and so that definitely feels like telepathy, I'd say.
Yeah.
But then we're still like pretty new to the
That's
whole
cool.
like creating narrative work and short films and stuff. Yeah.
And I would say that there's different parts of the process that we would connect better on. Like I think the creation, like the creative room, I guess, when we're actually developing the idea, I think things are just like really like making sense when I say, oh, I want this vibe, and it's like totally just
That's
like doesn't
true.
even just say the right word. It's just like, yeah, I get it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, because I wasn't sure either, but like with change, you guys did you collaborate in all areas, or was Taylor doing this and Laina, were you doing this? Like, was there some role deviation there? Like,
Yeah.
did one of you shoot it exclusively, or?
I took on the role of being the director of photography a bit more. Like I was holding
Okay.
the camera and trying to make lighting decisions and choice, and like I storyboarded it.
Okay, cool.
But then like during that process, like there were times when Taylor was like, there's a shot that I really know that I want, and then I would let him take a shot or two, or we would definitely be like, it's not as there wouldn't be a strict boundary between the roles of director and cinematographer, I don't think. For
Okay,
us.
so you guys both kind of contributed like equally in the creative, like all creative aspects kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say so.
Cool.
That's really
That's
cool
really
to
awesome.
hear. So I guess let's move into that then. Specifically with change, we've talked about it enough. It's a film that you guys made that recently screened at the I.O.U. Video Fest. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the movie and sort of how it came about and where the genesis of the idea came from and that sort of thing.
No, definitely. Yeah. So, like we knew we wanted to really go for a short film and really just like start entering that world and start just like making stuff. And so me and Laina and then our friend Nate, who is starring in that film, just sat down and just started to think about ideas that we wanted to shoot. And Nate actually had some like life experiences that related to a lot of the scenes in the film. And if you haven't seen the film, it's basically about someone with social anxiety trying to overcome that by doing different things and maybe misunderstanding or misreading what those
But
could
by
be.
following advice from drive-through guru.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, some of them were inspired by real life events, and I think we also wanted to go for a little bit of the quirky kind of like funny vibe, and just like, oh man, it'd be so funny. Like I've had really funny conversations with people in the drive-through before. It'd be fun to actually make that into like a reoccurring character that happens in the film, and I think that was kind of like an exciting part for us as well.
That was a really great aspect to the movie that like caught me right away. And I have to ask you guys, are there really onion loaves, or is that just a gag?
That's Nate's mind.
Yeah,
that's Nate's
Nate's
genius mind.
I kind of want one now. I
No,
want to know what it is.
no. An onion loaf sounds so bad.
Yeah, but I want to know. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah, so do
yeah,
I.
yeah,
I kind of want one. Moving into, like, you guys talked about some of the bits being based on real life experiences. That brings me to my next question, sort of. What stories are you guys most interested in telling, and what sort of I guess for you both individually, who like are your go-to inspirations as filmmakers and storytellers?
Yeah, so I think for myself, I'm pretty inspired by things and movies and experiences that really have a different perspective and that can change your perspective. And I think part of like my growing up watching movies and stuff, when I would leave a movie and really start to think about something in a different way, that was really like exciting for me, and really what I want to have happen in my storytelling. And I think like I enjoy comedy a lot, and that's kind of what comedy is. It's a lot about taking the whole audience somewhere and then flipping it on its head, and then everyone's like, oh man, I haven't thought about that, and it's just a whole funny experience. I've really enjoyed yeah, really that aspect of storytelling.
Yeah, I definitely like get inspired by people. I think every person, if like their lives could be made into a movie, because storytelling is so powerful and everybody's interesting. If you just like, take the time long enough to talk to somebody and like hear about their lives, I think people are pretty interesting. Yeah, and for as far as like professionals that inspire me, Reed Morano, she's did some directing for The Handmaid's Tale, and she's a cinematographer, and she's a mom, so that's pretty cool. I like a lot of her work. She does a lot of like handheld stuff and does some like interesting things with the lenses that I'm also interested in as well. And Matthew Libatique is really great. Yeah, they're
Ooh,
definitely
yeah,
inspiring.
I read about that the female cinematographer you talked about. She seems really awesome.
Yeah, totally inspiring. Yeah, you don't see that
Yeah.
many female cinematographers really.
And was she the one who was nominated for an Oscar this year, or was that
Somebody else, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm just like my brain is. But that was really cool that we had our first female cinematographer nominated
Yeah.
for an Oscar.
Totally.
Hey
Yeah.
guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Pumped.
I'm upset that it took so long, but you know.
That's true.
Well, actually, me and Lena were talking about that in Parlor. We were just like, did you know that not like a single female cinematographer has been nominated yet at the Oscars? And we
Yeah.
were
Even just nominated, like it's just ridiculous.
I had a hard time believing that.
Yeah.
But then it's
Yeah,
like,
no kidding.
I don't know. Like, I think that, like, having examples is a really important thing for what you think you can do with your life. And for me, like, I was planning on being a photographer. That's what I have done for, like, a lot of my life is I do wedding photography. And I have always made films when I was growing up, like with Taylor, like we were talking about, but I had never considered myself to be capable of being a cinematographer or a director of photography. And I don't know why, but then when we were talking about this conversation of like, wow, I don't have any examples of women who I knew that I could look up to who were like women and moms and were also cinematographers and married women and wives or whatever. And I was like, wow, I should be able to imagine myself in whatever career I feel passionate about pursuing, and it shouldn't be limited by the figures and the kind of people who occupy those positions. Yeah.
For sure. I'm curious to know what your guys' stylistic approach is when you're making a narrative project, and what are sort of the positives and negatives that you find in taking the approach that you do.
Yeah, so I think like a really important part of, I guess, the creation process and the creating of the whole film process is really just like that teamwork aspect, and really like when you asked the question before of like which roles did you kind of take on and things like that, I really do feel like we share a lot of the roles, and we really want to incorporate like our friends and different people in different roles to help here and there. And I think that's a big part of our style, I think.
I'd say we're pretty collaborative from the get-go, and we carry that into the whole process.
Yeah.
We like having a brainstorming environment that's pretty fun. Like, we'll laugh and we'll tell stories, and then we'll take notes throughout it, and then maybe like brainstorm a few more times, and then whatever really caught our minds the most, we'll try to like work on it a little bit, but we want to not be too serious all the time, but keep it fun. And even through the filming process, if somebody has an idea or an actor wants to try something, or like, we try our best to not tell people this is it has to be this way. I have an idea in my head and this is what it has to be, but try to keep a collaborative mindset throughout the process as best we can. That can be hard because then you got to be a mediator and managing what's my vision, what can I take in and what can't I take in. And so it can be hard to mediate a bunch of people and try to make everybody feel like they're not being talked down to, or that they all have a role. But I mean, so far it's been okay. An okay process, I think. And more people contributing to our creations and our ideas has, I think, made it stronger and better. And yeah, we definitely don't have it all, so we need lots of help.
Yeah, that's what I've found as I've matured as a filmmaker. I used to be one of those people that always kind of thought that, my ideas were kind of like the best in and of their original kind of creation. But as I got older, I realized kind of the value of drafting and and working with other people and their other brains and bringing us all together to make something really, really good in the end that would be like 100 times better than what my own brain was like thinking of at first,
Totally.
because it so quickly develops into something that is more than you could have imagined originally.
Yeah,
So that's really
totally,
good.
yeah.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think it can be scary. It can be a scary process of like being vulnerable and sharing like your creative vision, your ideas. It's like part of you, it's part of like your brain and what you want to express, and having someone like shut that down is a scary thing. But then a lot of the times it's like, oh man, like that's an awesome idea, but like here's something else too, and it's a snowballing of goodness. It's not
When you open yourself
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah, or just like letting your baby go, It's
Yeah,
like
that
go
too.
off into the world.
Yeah.
My little script, go fly away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do writing too, then, Miranda?
Yeah, I kind of do a lot of different things.
Nice.
as
So do
as I
I.
think we all
you
do.
too,
Yeah.
Miles. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm a filmmaker as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do
Um,
much of the writing, but coming up with ideas and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Writing, directing, editing.
Little bit of everything.
Sometimes I do my own sound.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would love not to do that, but sometimes it comes to that
Gotta
with
wear
being
many
indie and all that.
hats.
So
Yeah.
So true.
Exactly.
totally.
I'm curious, I guess before we head into break, sort of visually, what would you guys say your aesthetic is? Is there a particular lighting style you prefer to use? A particular, I don't know, aesthetic, I guess is the word, that you guys try and aim for in all your projects? Would you say that they have would somebody who watches, say watches two different folks' films, shorts, back to back, would they be able to, or sees one and then sees one like a day later, would they be able to know what yours is, would you say, or that it's you guys without necessarily knowing ahead of time?
That's maybe. I think that we are still developing our visual style.
For sure.
I we don't know if we've landed it yet, but yeah, for sure we're gonna have our own.
We're moving in a
course.
direction as well.
Yeah, that's true. We like shooting handheld when we can. We like shooting shallow depth of field and using natural light. But I mean, a lot of the times that's like because we're going quickly to new locations and we're doing wedding filming and stuff like that. Sometimes that's what we're given, what we have to do, and so that's what we've learned. But yeah, I want to keep learning new ways of doing lighting and seeing how. Yeah, I want to be very versatile and be able to change from project to project as far as what our folks film style is, our aesthetic. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think we're developing it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think we're still pretty new. Like when we're talking to a client about our wedding films, we say, yeah, we're like going for a indie cinematic like look, but that's kind of just short filmmaking, so we think that we are unique in our commercial work in that we have we really care about filmmaking and letting people drive a story, but as far as what that looks like, I think we have a lot of experience with natural light. I think that
I've seen some of your wedding videos, you guys, and like you definitely like what you said, Laina, the like indie the indie sort of like natural look is very
characteristic of us.
Accurate. Sorry, my mouth words sometimes.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, no, if it were like that, that makes sense, and like I feel like it's a very warm feeling when you watch the footage paired with like the editing and the music. It feels very warm and very like just very almost like this like
Inviting.
I guess inviting, but also like a lot of like media and the way things are sort of like styled nowadays is like this very like vintage countryside feel, and I feel like you guys kind of have that feeling to some of your wedding videos, like in the just the style of how they're filmed, and also just like the way everyone's kind of like, and the aesthetic of like some of the spaces,
That's true. Yeah.
because that's such a popular like style for weddings nowadays
Yeah,
too.
definitely being inspired by film too, and that, like you're saying, that vintage film kind of look is definitely something that we've been playing with for a few years.
Cool.
Yeah, very prairie.
Yeah.
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 That's good.
That's
Like
all we
Saskatchewan,
know.
Manitoba,
We're
all
prairie
that
people.
stuff.
Yep.
Totally.
Fair enough. Hey everybody, you're halfway through the episode, and we here at Around the Craft Table like to do what we can to let you know what's going on in the Winnipeg indie film scene. And this week, there's a screening by some really talented filmmakers at the Cinematheque on 100 Arthur Street, Tuesday, April 17th at 7 p.m. Come down and check it out if you want. Tickets are free. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Okay, and we're back from break with Laina and Taylor Brown of Folks Films, and you guys we talked a little bit about before the break about your wedding stuff, and let's jump into that. What sort of beyond the obvious commercial paying the bills end of things, what sort of brought you guys to doing weddings?
I was at the University of Regina taking fine arts, and I was doing like painting and drawing, but I wanted to use my own photos as source material, so I got a DSLR camera. This is like 10 years ago, and it was kind of before the big revolution of like DSLRs saturating the market, and people saw, oh, you have a nice camera. Do you want to like take a photo of my family or of my grad? And I said, yeah, sure. And it went really well. And then I got known as like a local photographer in Regina, and then things just snowballed and I started doing weddings. And because my camera also had video options, I just thought, hey, like I'll learn to do video too. And yeah, just like it just kind of, the doors opened and I walked through them. And then from there, yeah, I guess you were still interested in videoing too, and you got a DSLR, and then people kind of heard about us because we were making stuff. Yeah,
It's awesome.
Real grassroots type of approach. then?
definitely.
Yeah.
Sweet. What do you like most and least about doing weddings versus doing narrative projects?
Yeah, so I think for like the weddings situation, it was like the starting was hard. It was like that wasn't my first like love or first go to. I really wanted to like jump in and do narrative stuff. But obviously I can't just make money doing narrative stuff with my whatever camera and whatever else it is. And so like doing weddings, I think started to like develop like, hey, like let's do them well and let's do them like uniquely. And I think that really started to make me excited and be like, oh man, I can make these shots that look really good, and I can tell a story through the vows and through the different things that were said in the wedding. And I think that actually helped me feel confident in making narrative work. And I think I think for like weddings, the thing I struggle with is just having to make sure you capture the right moment, and if you miss it, it's kind of gone, and that just kind of makes me anxious and nervous and stuff. And with narrative work, it's like I get to really control what's going to happen, and we can take 3 takes and that's okay. And I think that's what my preferences and dislikes are.
You mentioned, Taylor, doing weddings uniquely. What is it you guys aim to do don't like to use this word because I feel like there's a more appropriate word, but differently than other wedding videographers. What do you aim to provide that's unique or that you guys think is unique about your stuff?
For sure, yeah. I think a lot of the wedding videographers that I do see tend to really their big focus tends to be like, how smooth can I get this shot? How cool can I get this drone?
Or can everything be like really well lit so you can see everything
Perfect
super
lighting.
well?
And I think we strive not for the best maybe looking video, but really capturing the emotions, the feelings, and then when you watch it, you really you feel those emotions more than you see the, like, oh, that was the right slider shot or that was the right lighting, but you actually feel like, oh man, that person, like, I feel like I understand what they're saying.
It's not like a formula. It's not like, oh, we have to get these specific shots to fit into our slot of like this slider or that like panning or whatever. But even like, oh, that shot is kind of like a blurry shot. Maybe it captures the right feeling of being in the moment of this dance and feeling the movement or the anticipation before walking down the aisle of the bride and her father or something like that. Like there's so many varieties of shots and things that happen in light and movement that work within the shadows too, not just within what's bright and light. And
For sure.
yeah, all those things are important.
And when you guys are at an event like that too, like the event's happening whether you're there or not. So it's like you kind of have to just get as much as you can and be there at the right time kind of thing. So it's hard to like, okay, let's set up the slider and let's get them to run towards it or something. It's like, no, you just got to kind of go, you know?
Because the moment could be lost by that too. Like if you're going to direct people, it has to be in keeping with the real emotions that they're feeling. Because if they're over directed or if you're they're not actors.
Yeah,
like,
you're not directing actors.
Yeah, it's really trying to listen to what's happening in the environment and being able to capture it as it is in the best way possible.
Yeah, honestly.
It's a big challenge. It's fun though.
I've always admired people that like do live event photography and videography because it's like, I mean, I do it myself. I do like I have a freelance company and we do like I have a couple of clients, but I do like St. Norbert Farmers Market and I do a couple other dance groups,
Cool.
and it's hard, especially with the dancing because they're always moving around. And you gotta kind of get it. So I myself am not. I wouldn't call myself a cinematographer, but I do work with some, and I do most of the editing. So it's very fun, but it is like difficult because you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna set up my drone and it's gonna be perfect because you can't count that it's not gonna be windy or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. How you gonna make do with the totally bright sunny day or a nice cloudy day? Like you got to know how to work with all these kinds of situations and light.
Exactly.
You get that.
For sure.
One time we arrived there and it was just like the dimmest room and we're like, well, I guess we gotta figure this out. And so you gotta do it.
That's why we try to get the mirrorless ones. They can they're really good in low light, so that you can do the best. Do the best with that.
Yes.
So with the weddings for you guys, then it's really about like not letting the production value that say a narrative would have, or the desire to have production value because you're shooting something, get in the way of really truly just telling that story as honestly as you can. Then
Totally.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Really...
Yeah.
Sweet.
But I think that is like that will be great production value, I think. Like the perfect, it's not like you're not getting the perfect shots. It's that the perfect shots just are a combination of a variety of things that together make it look right and feel right. And the feeling right, I think, is what gives it the most value for us.
There's a lot in editing as well. It's
a lot in editing.
Creating the story after.
The perfect shot sort of just like happens rather than you construct it kind of deal.
Yeah. And it's like usually a string in a series together. It's like we need this close up, we need this movement, we need this like play with the light. It needs to be backlit.
Is commissions and commercial and wedding work something you guys want to keep on the available list of offerings that you guys provide for a long time, or is the end game to sort of transition fully into narrative filmmaking and only narrative?
As long as I am buying groceries, I will want to do commercial work probably. just to pay the bills. But like if it happened to be like I'm making money off of doing narrative stuff, then totally I would like to switch to that. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just that feels very far away.
Yeah. It's definitely enjoyable to be doing weddings and promos and videos for companies. It's like I feel like we're learning so much through all the different situations that we have to be in and make the best of and film. But yeah, it's kind of a dream to be able to do narrative work full time. It seems like, maybe long term, but
It's great that you guys are doing both because you are getting to explore different parts of video making, filmmaking. Because I mean, people that make wedding videos are still like making films. Because it's like I kind of like with narrative, it's like it's more like a story coming to life, and with weddings, it is a story coming to life, but it's more like a collage. It's like a visual collage of like a moment, of like a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's montage in it for sure. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like montage isn't necessarily always as appropriate in movies. It depends on the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
The Swiss Army Man montage
Exactly.
was awesome.
Do an entire film
I mean,
on a montage.
I think I did that one time. Yeah, I did. It's like 14 minutes, and it could be like 4. It's awful.
Oh.
I made it when I was like
Nice.
16, so it's okay.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that
awesome.
happened.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
I guess we can would transition into sort of a more general and open-ended conversation if there's something like just generally if there's things outside of films that you guys are interested in that you sort of want to talk about or
Cool.
that sort of thing.
Well, Taylor is a game guy. He
Sure
works.
do love board games.
Yeah, he works it across the board too.
Oh my gosh.
Cool.
Maybe I've seen you.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm there in the blue shirt. Got the little
Nice.
game
Do you like
experts
Red
thing
Dragon
on
Inn?
there, so
Oh my
I
god.
haven't tried it, and I've had 2 people suggest it to me. And
It's
I'm
so good. You guys
dying to
have
try
it there. We played it last time we were there, me and my buddies. It's a very good game.
Oh really? Ugh, I gotta check that one out. Do you guys do any like D&D stuff at all?
I do some tabletop. I've played one called Fiasco,
Yes.
which is pretty
Oh, yeah.
fun.
Yeah, Fiasco is pretty cool.
And I want to play Dread, which is like I
Mm.
don't know if you know anything about it, but it's pretty cool. It's essentially D&D, except for those listening who don't know, except you use a Jenga tower to make your decisions instead of rolling
That's
dice.
cool.
Fun.
So like, and it's a horror game. So you're in a party with I think it's like up to 8 players or something plus the DM. So like, if let's say we're all chasing a monster and we one of us has a weapon, that person, say Taylor, could decide to make an attack attempt, and the DM goes, okay, you got to pull 2 blocks. So you pull 2 blocks, and if you pull one and you knock the tower over, something happens to the rest of the team.
Oh.
You could they could either die
Oh
or
my gosh.
you could die or they could die or get injured or whatever.
That's so cool. That's such a fun thing I want to try.
Yeah.
So I think Myles, we saw you at the 48-hour film festival in line, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, have
I
you
was
done
there.
the 48 before?
I've done it twice before.
Ooh.
It's a lot of fun. I describe it to people that friends of mine who aren't in the film industry and aren't necessarily artists as the purest, most genuine test of a friendship that exists on
Wow.
Earth that isn't going to Coachella with them for like hours in a car.
Yeah.
If you can come away from that, if you can come away from it and not
hate everyone,
not
not
hate-
resent your
exactly,
very
not hate
existence.
everybody that you worked with.
This is gonna be what breaks us.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. All right, folks is done.
Folks
48
films
hour.
departs.
Have you guys done it before?
Yeah.
No, we've never done the 48 or any 48-hour film festival before. Yeah.
Rest in
We're
peace.
not in this time.
We've done a 7-month film.
I did it last year
Good
too.
luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you guys got to interview us before we dismantle.
We'll come
Very
back
solid.
after the 48 and see
Yeah.
where you're at then.
Yeah.
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 So many
No,
boxes
honestly,
of
it'll
hats.
be a great experience. It's
Right.
super fun.
Yeah, it's totally
Miranda,
fun.
you
Yeah,
did it then,
I
too.
wasn't like the head in a project or anything, but I helped out at Friends last year. Yeah, we did. It was with Jhurmel and then like Jesse and Adam. Jesse and Adam had films at the I.O.U Fest. Yeah, them and a couple other guys as well.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, and I've done it with my crew 3 years in a row now, and I've directed the last 2, and it's so much brain power from a directing standpoint because the first year we did it, you weren't allowed to write your script in advance.
Whoa.
So Friday they give you. I'm sort of giving you some inside baseball information
Thank you.
here. Friday they'll give you, the keys, which are the requirements of the
Right.
film. That includes your runtime. They usually include it includes runtime, a theme that you need to convey in your story, and either a shot requirement, a prop requirement, a line of dialogue, and those have to be included in the film. Like for instance, last year, it was
Yeah.
a voyeuristic shot and a cell phone shot. So somebody peeking in on somebody from a closet, and then cell phone footage, which those requirements, as in our case, particularly in the case of the runtime last year, threw me off. Like I just about lost my mind because I'm sitting there with the script that the team had put together, timed out to 20 minutes, and our runtime was 3:20, and I just went, you guys, I gotta go. I gotta just bail for a bit. No, I'm kidding. But it was one of those things where, for us at least, on paper, reading the script took a lot longer than the actual runtime of the film because there's a lot of it played out in quick little flashbacks.
Yeah, totally.
So,
It's definitely challenging for sure.
Yeah.
But it's amazing even with those parameters that every film looks so different. Like I went to and saw the premiering of all
At
the
the Met?
films last year, and at the Met, and it was they were all so different and so diverse, which was.
Did you guys see
super
Nailed
interesting.
It?
Yeah.
No.
Is that one yours?
Yeah, that was the one we did. It was about this boy that worked at a he goes to a grocery store and buys a milk bottle, and then in the end it's the fingernails in the milk bottle.
I
That's all
can't
good.
remember it
It's all
right
good.
now, but
It's pretty dark. It's like a serial killer story, but it's kind of you're kind of what can you do in this amount of time, and then you're in media res, let's go. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, right in the middle.
Cool.
Should we? What do you think?
I don't know.
Miranda?
We could
Should
just
sign off,
talk and
or-
see what you can use. We have 15 minutes. Hey,
Sure.
I don't want to plug my own thing, but I got a film screening next week at the Cinematheque.
Hey.
If you guys want to come,
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, well, I want to
Would love to
go.
come.
it's
What's
a
it about?
sci-fi movie about some. It's basically so if you've watched Blade Runner, there's the replicants and stuff. So it's kind of like Blade Runner meets Fallout, the game series. It talks a lot about it talks a
Dang,
lot
that
about
sounds
AI, but
sweet.
it's also just about this guy trying to find his wife. But we did an episode on the movie. You can listen to it and hear all about that just for the viewers and all those people. But
Oh, sweet.
it's screening
Sweet, yes.
on, and anyone listening can also come if they want. It's free. It's at the Cinematheque, 100 Arthur Street in Winnipeg, at 7 p.m. on April 17th, Tuesday. Yeah.
I've got a film that I didn't
Yes.
make, but I produced for a friend of mine who was in the class. It's called Man in the Arena. It's a
Yeah,
it's
these
a
are
crime drama.
these are all screening the same
come
night.
on
There's
down and
like
check
I
it
think
out.
there's 6 films over an hour. Yep.
And
It's
it's
for
free.
it's for our film 2
Yep.
class.
Well,
Totally
yeah,
true.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, so
Oh,
our
sweet.
prof is like getting the theater for us to show them and show all the crew and like family and friends. Yeah. Super cool.
Cool. Well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, come if you guys are
Yeah, I'm pretty
free,
excited.
and then because I don't think many of us are going to be releasing our films for a little while, so it'll be the first chance to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely would go. Yeah.
So what's your guys like visions and dreams for like where you want to be at? Like, I'd
Yeah.
like to know a little bit more
Aw.
about like you guys.
Aw,
Aw, exactly.
they're asking about me. All right, so well, do you want me to go first? Yeah.
Who is that for, me?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you're already talking. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I probably started developing stories from like basically as soon as I was like reading stories. So like I was like 5. I was like writing little books and like illustrating stuff. And then when I was like a kid, me and my friends would
Aw.
like you guys were talking about like writing little plays and like acting them out and stuff. Like I did that too. With my friends, and like we put them on for the neighbors, and thought we were like really like we were really important. It was
Yes.
adorable. But
Oh,
yeah, and
Yes.
our parents were like, "Yeah, you guys are so good." It was probably really awful, but you know. And I was always that person that was kind of like leading the group, and I was like, "You have to act this way," and they'd be like, "Okay," and then they'd like make a mistake, and I'd be like, "No, you ruined everything."
Yeah.
But it was all fun. And then I discovered the internet in like 2008 when I was like, I discovered YouTube, and then I started developing videos.
Congratulations.
And then I did like, I don't know, I've been editing for like 10 years now.
Okay.
And that's kind of been my thing. But then I started making my movies in 2014, and with a group of 6 women, and then we started doing that out of high school. And then I don't make films with all of them anymore, but some of them. And then yeah, just going through school, developing my films. But I mostly I don't do any comedy really. Like that's not really something that I tend to write, but I really love comedies.
Sure. Yeah.
But I
Okay.
tend to really write dramas, like really like talking about like the human existence, just like really deep human connection stuff. That's kind of like what intrigues me, what I like to write about. But yeah, that's like what my sci-fi is
Yeah.
I
about.
love
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
There you go.
Fantastic, That's awesome.
Sweet.
I love that. Like finding other people who in their childhood did weird things like make plays
Yes.
and
Yeah.
direct stuff.
and thinking that they're like that. It's like this is an important.
This
play.
is so important.
Need to have
I like-
everything right.
I had a web series when I was 12, and like all of us
Yeah.
would like gather on my old like dinosaur computer, and we'd all be like shoving our faces in the webcam. We thought it was like hilarious, and I still have those videos, and it's just me being like
Yeah.
such a bully to all the other kids.
Yeah.
I was like, get out of my office. I'm using it to film vlogs. And it's like, what am I doing?
Yes. That's so
Totally.
funny.
That's funny. As for me, I grew up like loving all kinds of TV and media, and both my parents are visual artists on the side of what they do for a living, and so that kind of inspired me to get into like just enjoy making stuff. And I was 12 the first time I said to my mom I wanted to go to film school. I didn't know what those words
Boy,
were.
were you in for a big
I
journey.
was like 12. Yeah, exactly. And you know, having a disability, there's been all kinds of like, especially when I first started. Not so much now because now I know how to approach the logistics of things. But when I first started, there was all kinds of questions. Is this doable for me beyond just being a writer? Because I initially wanted to just be a writer, and then went, no. I mean, if I'm gonna write something, I want to direct it, because if anybody's gonna screw up bringing my words on the page to the screen, I'd like it to be me. I just that sort of slightly egotistical sense of protection over my own work.
Yeah.
And then last year I was fortunate enough to get to land a leading role at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre production of Brad Fraser's Kill Me Now, which was super fantastic and super frightening.
Yeah, wow.
At 29, playing a 17-year-old kid who had a disability that was much worse than my own, but like, it was just so weird for me because the relatability for me to that character, just in terms of what he was going through at 17, was like through the roof. So it was like figuring out how to separate myself from the character and just do the job and tell the story that needed to be told.
Totally.
So was that kind of an intense experience?
Yeah, that's actually a really good word for it, Laina. Intense and frightening and awesome and sad.
I'm so
all at
emo.
once.
Literally. So like, yeah, we're all just so we're all just so small in the world. Existential lives. Developing our little ideas
What
about
about-
big things.
Yeah. Do you guys have inspirations or people who you like look up to?
Like cinematically or in the world at large?
I was
or
thinking
both?
cinematically, but I'm pretty interested in whatever comes to mind.
Cinematically for me, it's Kubrick. A Clockwork Orange at 3 a.m. was the moment that I actually realized at the age of 22 that I wanted to go to film school, and I was serious
Nice.
about it. And that Kubrick, Fincher, David
Yeah.
Cronenberg, and then of course the big names like Cameron and Spielberg as well are also on my list.
Yeah.
Cinematically, it's like to go to like the early times, like Jean-Luc Godard. I really like Edgar Wright and Wes Anderson, like for modern references.
Yeah.
And then like just inspiration, like
Yeah.
my mom, because she's like my hero and she's like done a lot for us. So I don't know.
Aw.
Yeah, I'm also.
That sounds pretty encouraging.
Yeah. I'm also a media programmer and I like work with her at a heritage museum. That's like my job. So that is really fun, and like it's like the best job in addition to my film life. So my mom's a huge inspiration for me. Yeah,
That's awesome.
she's my best friend.
Aw.
Families can get along.
Yeah, I mean we still fight, but it's like it's great in the end, you know. Everybody disagrees. Like when I disagree with you, Miles.
What? Never. That doesn't happen. What are you talking about? We completely agree all the time. At least on the air we do.
You're right.
There you go. On that note, should we sign off?
Sure.
All right. So I'd like to thank you both for joining us tonight on the show. It was fantastic having you here. And now is your opportunity before we sign off to plug anything.
Well, we have had a great time chatting with you guys.
This is a great opportunity. Thanks
Aw.
for caring about us and what we're doing.
No problem.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in the
Yeah.
48-hour film festival. That's exciting.
Yeah, so that's something coming up.
Yeah.
If you're ever, I don't.
Oh my gosh.
We don't have any projects that are finishing up right away, but
If you go to our website,
oh yeah,
folksfilms.com, you can check out all kinds stuff on there.
Maybe you're having an event you want to get made into.
Yeah, totally.
We could tell your tale. Folks, tell your tale.
Nice.
That's a good tagline. I love that.
Tagline, actually.
Folks, tell your tale.
Because folks,
Nice.
like folk tales.
Yeah.
We'll,
Oh.
Yeah, there's something.
And like as in folks, like a group of individuals. Wow, you guys are so smart. I love it.
Absolutely.
We're all
All
about
those folks
people.
out there.
we'll,
You can be a
folks,
you
you
can
know.
be a folk
Yeah.
too. Just go to folksfilms.com.
there you go.
Absolutely.
better, that's better.
www.
Yeah.
Wait,
Folksfilms.com.
http://
http://
www.folksfilms.com. I'm so sorry, Miles, for this
That's it?
edit.
That's fine. I will get my revenge elsewhere, Miranda.
Oh dear.
I'm kidding.
So yeah, do you guys have social media like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, our handle is Folks Films.
We'll make sure to put that in the
Everywhere.
show notes.
Not Twitter. We don't
Great.
have Twitter.
Awesome.
And then anything else? I don't know.
Yep.
Sweet.
Do you guys have a Vimeo or an...
We do.
Oh,
Folks Films.
Folks Films. Okay, Folks Films everywhere, guys.
Yeah. It's Folks Films.
Yep. Just to sign off, I'm Miranda Moroz on Vimeo, Miranda Moroz on Instagram, and literally Miranda Moroz everywhere else. So there you go.
I'm Dr. Finkelstein. I think on Twitter the underscore may not be there. Collective Films on YouTube, Collective Films on Vimeo. That's it for me.
Nice. All right.
Great to meet you guys.
Yeah, that was so lovely, you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Miranda from the Around the Craft Table team, and you've just heard episode 8, A Snowballing of Goodness. This week's episode was executive produced by myself, Miranda Moroz. It was executive produced, directed, and edited by Miles A. Taylor. It featured Miles, myself, Laina Brown, and Taylor Brown of Folks Films. And you can check them out again at www.folksfilms.com. This week's music was all done by Joakim Karud. We hope you enjoyed the episode this week and hope you stick around for next week, where we're sitting down with Jared Adams and Carter Hadlow to chat with them about their passion for filmmaking and a couple projects they're working on currently. We're pretty excited for you all to hear these conversations we've had and hope to spark some new conversations about filmmaking within your own circle of friends, collaborators, or just in the comment section. We have a special announcement for you all, as we're now accepting film suggestions for indie films to feature in our Shot for Shot segment, where we do an in-depth analysis of short films. Send us a comment if you have a favorite short film you'd like to hear us talk about on the podcast. You can find the podcast on SoundCloud, GooglePlay Music, or you can enter our RSS feed into your podcast app of your choosing. Connect with us on social media at ATCT Show, or just send us an email at crafttablepodcast@gmail.com if you have any important questions or requests. We'd love to hear from you. Bye-bye.